Carmen Hunter. I looked over at Mama in disbelief. She knows how I felt about him. She knows the tears I cried over him. She knows how long I stayed up hoping and praying that God could mend my broken heart. Yet here we are at the dinner table. I looked around at all 12 of my family members were sitting around the dinner table looking happy, oblivious to what I was feeling inside. Then I looked at Tony, still shocked that Mama would invite him over. I honestly wondered if she knew that we weren't together, right? It wasn't fake news or anything. Better yet, I know she got the repeated calls of me asking her for advice on how to maintain my dead-end 3-year relationship with a nigga that never fully valued me. 2 of those 3 years I didn't even value myself. I finally started to grow though. I grew enough courage to cut him loose. Now, Mama had my number 1 mistake sitting right across from me looking me up and down like I still wanted him. I swear I hate him. Every time he tried to look at me I turned the other direction. Tony Hawkins is the epitome of what looks good to you is not always good for you. Even though I hate him I can't doubt the fact that he looks good 62 with light brown skin and a body to die for. I looked down at the shirt he had on, a green and black Upsilon Phi Kappa short sleeve tee. I immediately turned my head again. If anything, UPK is the reason why we're no longer together. I had been with Tony since my junior year of high school. We first met when we both worked at this popular sit-down restaurant in Willisfield called Harbors. Had started working there a year before me and worked his way up to getting promoted to manager's assistant. Because of that, he was one of the people that trained me when I started working there. That's how we started to get close. Tony was sweet. Niggas always are when they first meet you and want to talk to you. He tried for the longest time to get me to go on a date with him, but I kept telling him no. I was talking to another guy at the time, and even though it wasn't serious, I didn't see myself with Tony. Sure, he was cute and treated me right, but I just couldn't take him seriously as a boyfriend. I wish I'd trusted my instincts from the beginning. After months of getting at me, I finally decided to let him take me to the fair. That's when I really started to fall for him. That night I started to see him differently. Capital I. Started to think that maybe it was our working relationship that prevented me from seeing him as an option. We had so much fun that night. Tony even won me a big teddy bear. Capital I. After that, we started to talk every day. Even though Tony went to Hillman and I went to Booker T, 2 different high schools on different sides of Willisfield, we knew everything about each other's daily lives. We made our relationship official on Thanksgiving Eve, the same day I introduced him to my parents and my sisters. We walked outside on the back porch of my parents' house. I turned to him and smiled. "So, what are you thinking?" He looked down at me and smiled back. "I like your family. They're really nice. And they care for you. They care a little bit too much sometimes. I am sorry that my dad was interrogating you like that. It's cool. I totally understand. My dad is the same way with my little sister." I rolled my eyes. Speaking of little sisters, I am so sorry that Leia was being so annoying. She just won't leave you alone. She must have a crush on you or something. He laughed and shook his head. "I don't know about all of that. Trust me, Leia is bold. Even though she's only in 8th grade, she thinks she can get a junior in high school. Did you hear how she asked you if you were my boyfriend?" He looked at me. "Yeah, I heard her. Can you believe that?" "I can." I looked at him. "Really?" "Most definitely. Maybe she sees something that you don't see, only you, because I see it." I looked down at the ground and said once again, "Really?" He got closer to me and said, "Yes, really. I like you for real. You aren't like these other girls out here, and I like that about you. That's what's up. Do you like me back?" I looked up at him. "Huh?" I said, "Do you like me back?" "Maybe." "Well, do you think that maybe we could try something out?" "I think we could be something." I looked away from him and started smiling and blushing. yet. I think we should try things out and see where we go. November 26, 2014. We made things official. Dating him was like a dream the first few months. He was sweet, caring, and always noticed the little things about me. He could tell when I was mad. He knew when I changed my hair. He never forgot our important dates too, like our anniversary or my birthday. Yup, he was the perfect boyfriend until we got to Laketon State. The switch up. I don't know what happens when niggas get to college. I guess all these loose lil girls walking around letting them do whatever they want has them feeling bold or something. Guys do the absolute most when they start thinking they're the hottest thing walking around on campus, especially when they go Greek honey. You can't tell them anything, not even when you're their girlfriend. By the time we got to Laketon State, Tony and I started falling off. We were rocking heavy for that first month of our freshman year, but he switched up once he started hanging around his weedhead fuckboy roommates. Those boys were going to every party that was thrown on and off Laketon State's campus. They were never in class, though. Pretty soon, Tony started rocking with them. Isn't that a pretty bad look? I am striving towards being on the dean's list for my first semester, and my stupid boyfriend is getting caught up in weed and parties because of who he lives with. I didn't give up on him, though I had to get my nigga back on track because he was about to fly off the rails, crash and explode. It was an early October night when I finally got him to talk to me. We went out to the fountain on the quad and sat on the bench. I tried my best to talk sense into him. Tony, what's wrong with you? He was on his phone, not even paying me any attention. What do you mean? You know exactly what I am talking about, boy. He smacked his lips. You ain't saying anything. I got frustrated and snatched the phone out of his hands. He tried to take it away from me, but I held it away from his reach. Tony, stop. You need to listen to me. Carmen, I am warning you. Give me back my phone. Not until you listen to me. You're not about to say anything different than what you have tried to tell me before. How do you know that until you listen to what I have to say? He folded his arms, leaned back and looked at me. Fine, I am listening. I rolled my eyes at the fact he was acting like such a child and said, Tony, you're not going down the right path. I understand you trying to have fun and enjoy life a little, but hanging with those dorm niggas isn't gonna do anything for you. How do you out now? For one, they never go to class. Two, they're literally idiots that aren't going to do anything for you like I just said. You're starting to turn out just like them. He smacked his lips again and pushed himself up off of the bench. Whatever. Man, you're always trying to judge people. I closed my eyes and sighed. I hated to put him out there, especially in a public place, but I had to put him in check. Tony, you're failing 3 of your 5 classes. He immediately turned around. What? You're failing 3 of your 5 classes and it shows on your midterm grades. He walked towards me with his face all scrunched up. How do you even know that? I talked to your advisor in the Terry building, Mrs. Rishonda. She's concerned about you and she's told you to come see her and you haven't. Since she couldn't get you, she called me. She isn't even supposed to do that. Why are you even worried about my grades? I care about you. I am your girlfriend after all. He sat back down on the bench and put his focus on the water coming from the fountain. You just don't understand. Help me understand then. Let's actually talk for a change. That's something we haven't done in a while. These classes are hard. I am a biology major. Plus, I am a support student. If I don't get this, I am gone. That's pressure. Pressure you don't even have to deal with. Why didn't you tell me this? There's no need to. You're not trying to listen. I am listening now, aren't I? Yeah. After you finally realized that being my mama isn't your job. I squeezed my fists together. Tony was and still is a hardhead. I just don't know what it is with guys and their crazy egos. He still wasn't trying to listen, so I had to go even deeper. I am not here to argue with you, Tony. I am just letting you know that you need to Find some way to get your grades back right, or your dream of pledging Upsilon Phi Kappa in a year or two is dead." He turned and looked at me with shock on his face. He covered my mouth and said, "If you don't shut up saying that all out loud out here." I knocked his hand from off me and replied, "Well, you're not listening to me, so I'ma keep it real. That dream is definitely gonna die if you don't get your act right." He sat there quiet for a second, then shook his head and said, "Man, whatever." I sighed and leaned in close to him. "You should want to pass your classes so you can graduate and make your parents proud, but if that doesn't motivate you, remember that you want to be a UPK man in the future. You're off your goal right now, but I am willing to help you out if you want, I guess." I smiled, satisfied that he actually listened to me after what felt like an hour of trying. It's a shame that it took me reminding him that he wanted to join Upsilon Phi Kappa, one of the most popular fraternities on the campus of Laketon State, to get him to focus on his grades, but it worked. He ended up getting C's in those 3 classes he was failing and B's in the other 2. Then I started really staying on him about his work, and he got all his B's and C's to round up the second semester of freshman year. Sophomore year he started trying to get involved on campus, mainly to impress the UPKs. I guess they like what they saw because he went to an interest meeting and they started taking him through the pledge process. You want to know how I know? He fell off speaking to me. I was cool with it because I knew what it was. Then I started hearing around campus that Tony was talking to somebody that wasn't me. I've never been one to entertain rumors, but I started taking things seriously when Olivia, my roommate in the time and one of my close friends, told me that he saw him with her one night. Girl, I was over at the university apartments across the street from Laketon and I saw his car over at Lauren's apartment. I saw when he walked out too. They kissed and everything. I did some investigating and found out that Lauren was a Phi Lambda, the sister organization of the UPKs. She was a senior and had been talking to Tony for a while. She was even his sponsor during his process. She was paying money for Thisman to pledge. You have no idea how much I wanted to beat that girl's face in. It wasn't her fault though. Even if Lauren knew we were together, it wasn't her fault that she was messing around with Tony. It was his fault. He's the one that should deaded the issue. He should let it be known that he has a girlfriend and his girlfriend isn't into sharing niggas. I am not the weekend. I am his Sunday Saturday. I confronted him about what I found out and he tried to deny it at first. You always believing all these other people. Olivia stays lying. Why would you believe her now? Even when I came to him with proof, pictures mind you, he found a way to flip it on me. She's been supporting me from day one and not lecturing me like my mama. She was down for me pleading and didn't try to use it against me like you did. Plus, she's putting money down on it. You definitely can't do that for me. Was this boy serious? I was the reason that he could even be online. I doubt the UPKs, of all the frats on the yard, would let anybody cross with 3 F's on their transcript. I didn't know that I decided to get into a relationship with a childish baby that couldn't control himself when he got to college and even tried to lie in my face about something I knew was a fact. I still stayed with him though. Things got worse too. Crossing the burning sands. Tony crossed Upsilon Phi Kappa on February 10, 2016. The HPE complex was filled up to capacity with people that wanted to see who was going to be coming out. Slick was more people at that probate than fall commencement. That's none of my business though. Tony was the tail on the line and his line name was Prime Convict. How fitting, because I was close to going to jail over him. After he crossed, things started to become different between us. Even the day after the probate was over, Tony was acting differently. He barely wanted to hug or take pictures with me and took any chance that he got to break away from me. Having him do that to me really hurt. No lie, I left HPE and went back into my room and cried all night. Capital I thought that through this process of him pledging that he would grow I thought that he'd grow to understand how much I loved and cared for him. I never wanted to make him feel like I was trying to run him. I just wanted the best for him. The months following it got worse. The UPKs are known as the fraternity that has the most women on the campus that flock to them. Tony tried his best to live up to the stereotype. I heard about all the girls he was getting with. He even paraded them around in my face and I didn't do anything. I lost my fight. I'd been through hell and back with that boy and it finally started to wear on me. No matter what he did though, I still loved him. I still wanted to be with him no matter how much he hurt me. Even though I lost my fight, it sparked back in me one time I saw him and Lauren together off campus. It was a party at the UPK frat house right off of Carver Street going into Fresno Lane. It was a couple of weeks after the probate. Olivia convinced me to come with her to this Clark Atlanta vs. Laketon State basketball after party they were throwing. I really didn't want to be there and you could tell. I had a permanent frown on my face, and I stood on the wall as Olivia went and had fun. My eyes were on Tony. I hadn't talked to Tony since he pledged I'd even see him on campus and had walked past me like I didn't exist. He would even return my text or phone calls. I felt like the crazy stalker girlfriend. I might not have been a stalker, but that boy was driving me crazy. Him and his line brothers cleared a hole through the crowd of people dancing and they started to stroll. It infuriated me to see him with that big grin as he did his moves. It really made me mad when the Firelanders started to stroll in a line behind them and Lauren, who's the ace on the line, smacked him on the butt. Something snapped in me. I went and pulled her out of the line of her sorority sisters and drug her to the ground by her hair and started punching and kicking her. The other Firelanders tried to jump in but the UPKs held them back. I beat that girl so bad that she started crying when they finally pulled me away from her. One of her sisters hit me in the face and I grabbed her hair and tried my best to pull her towards me. A campus police officer, who pledged UPK back when he was in college, forced me down to the ground and put me in handcuffs. I thought I was gonna get arrested but, come to find out, Tony talked his frat brother out of arresting me. Oh, so he had enough care in him to prevent me from going to jail but he can't even answer my phone call? What type of sense does that make? That was the last time I talked to him or even saw him. For months, I didn't see him on the yard. Even when I saw the other UPKs I never saw him. It's like God deleted him out of my life. It was needed to. I was able to see where I went wrong. I was able to see how stupid I was. I was able to let out all my pain. Those Filanda girls didn't mess with me either. I would unleashed all my pain on them. I cried and told my mama that I was done with him. We had multiple conversations about this over my time away from him. I told her how it was hard for me to even look at other guys romantically. My perception of guys that were Greek was all messed up. I know that's unfair but I was hurt. I told her how I was so heartbroken that I was even thinking about taking time off of school. Yet, here we are. Thanksgiving breakup. I was ready to come home and rest during Thanksgiving break this year. I'd been working hard in my classes to keep my 3.6 GPA. Plus, I was working as an assistant in the president's office. I was ready to see my family and everything. I thought Thanksgiving was gonna be lit. I was ready to watch football with my dad just like old times and eat some of my mom's great food. My twin cousins were coming over and they were freshmen at Stallworth State University, an HBCU in Stallworth, Georgia. That's Laketon State's rival school. That didn't happen. Thanksgiving afternoon I heard the doorbell ringing. It was odd to me because all of our family members that were visiting were already over. Curiously, I went to open the door. When I opened it, it was like I was smacked in the face. There Tony was, looking at me with a grin on his face. I looked at him through the screen door. At first, I didn't understand. Why in the world would he be at my house? Things became apparent when my mom came up behind me and said, "How's that, Carmen?" Oh, hey Tony, what's wrong with you, baby? Let him in. You don't want to leave our guest standing out there. I opened the door and moved away quickly so he won't think about touching me. He walked in and everyone treated him like he was one of the members of the family. Hey Tony. What's up, Tone? How about those Falcons, Tony? The only person that felt my pain was Leia, now a sophomore in high school who knows good and well how trifling niggas are. I told her the same thing I told Mammond. She understood completely where I was coming from. After I told her my story, she said, "Girl, you're better than I would been." Capital I. Wold cut him off when his dumb ass was failing 3 classes. I immediately went to her after he came in. I walked over to her shaking my head. She stared over at him hugging our auntie and dapping up our twin cousins. "Carmen, why is he here?" "I have no clue. I think Mama invited him." She looked at me like I was crazy. "You gotta be playing with me." "I don't know, but she said our guest and I know I didn't invite him." Leia seemed more mad than I was. "This is like something out of a movie. Didn't you tell Mama about your issue with him?" "I swear I did." "You need to go talk to her or something because something clearly got miscommunicated." I sighed. "I guess I'll go over and do it now." I started to walk over with my head lowered. She grabbed me. "Sis, are you okay?" "I will be when I find some way to deal with how I am feeling right now. If you need me to do anything, just let me know." I nodded and walked to find Mama. I walked in the kitchen looking for her when I came face to face with Tony. "What's up, Carmen? What are you doing here?" "It's Thanksgiving. Your mom called to check on me and told me you guys were having family dinner again this year and I decided to come through. You already know I won't miss being around the family. You know you need to stop playing because you're not fooling me." "Why are you here, Tony?" He sighed. "I wanted to see you. You know we haven't talked in a while." "Don't be stupid. You know why." "I know. I admit, I was wrong. I should've treated you like that. That Lauren thing shouldn't have happened. And you're just realizing that now?" "No, I've been thinking about it. Listen, I am just wondering if we can just come somewhere and talk. You know, patch things up." I rolled my eyes and pushed my way past him. "If you don't get out of my face." Before I walked out of the room, he said, "I am still your boyfriend, Carmen." He clearly was delusional. I had to go and find Mama and make some sense of what was going on. I finally found her and tried to see where her mindset was. Of course, she was trying to hop into my relationship and play peacemaker when she didn't need to. "Honey, you two love each other. Sometimes couples argue and fight, but you just gotta find your way through it. If I fell out with your father every time we had a disagreement, you children won't be here today." I then discovered what the disconnect between Mama and me was. I didn't tell her the whole story. I didn't tell her about his partying and drug use freshman year. I didn't tell her about Lauren. I definitely didn't tell her about the fight and me almost getting arrested. I just told her how I felt. According to her, how I was feeling was typical of every young woman in a relationship. She thought I needed to get over myself and communicate with Tony. If only she knew. It was my fault she didn't after all. All of this led us to the kitchen table, the rest of my family, outside of Leia, oblivious to how much I was hurting. I tried to keep my composure, I really did. My plan was to just write out this dinner and go back to my room and cry over him like I normally do. But, of course, Mama forced my hand. My dad was about to introduce a time-honored tradition of us going around the dinner table saying what we're thankful for this year. Mama interrupted him though. "Before you start that, baby, I just want to acknowledge that our eldest daughter is celebrating her 3-year anniversary with our future son-in-law." "Son-in-law." Tony smiled and looked over at me. I looked over at the turkey. "Anything other than starting at the devil?" Mama continued on. "Since it's the celebration of your anniversary, I want you two to lead our tradition this year. What are you two thankful for?" Tony took no time to get up. "First of all, I want to thank you for inviting me, Mrs. Hunter. I am thankful for the 3 years that I've been blessed to know Carmen. She's helped me grow. I remember when I met her at Harbors back when we were in 11th grade. I knew I had to get to know her. Every day since then has been amazing. I'll admit, we've had our ups and downs. I didn't listen our freshman year when she tried to get me on the right track in school. She knew that I wanted to pledge Upsilon Phi Kappa and she kept me on track. That's why I wear me letters proudly today. If it wasn't for her, I couldn't have done this. That's why I am thankful for her. I love Carmen more than she'll ever know. I heard a lot of AWW around the table and everyone was looking at us like we were the picturesque couple. Mama looked satisfied. She hadn't heard what I was about to say though. I had the plan of just keeping my pain to myself and putting on a happy face for my family. I couldn't do that though. I was finally going to speak my mind. I got up from my chair and looked around the table. I had everyone's full attention, especially Tony's. He was eager to hear what I had to say. I said, "This year, I am thankful for growth. I am thankful for growing in my faith. I am thankful for my freedom. I am thankful for finally stop crying over how my ex hurt me." A look of confusion surrounded the face of most of my family sitting at the table. Leia started to smile. "Yes, he's my ex. I am not gonna sit here and pretend that we're in this picture perfect relationship in front of all of you. To be honest, I've been hurting these past 2 years. I've been hurt at how he's treated me like I am not even important to him. How he's made light of my feelings and walked around with different girls right in my face. He didn't care about how I felt when all these people came up telling me what he was doing at the UPK house. He didn't care that he broke my heart so badly that I didn't even want to be in school anymore. But it's okay. I am thankful for him. I am thankful for my ex. I am thankful for the lessons he taught me. I am thankful for him hurting me the way he did. Because of it, I learned how to value myself and realize that it isn't my fault that he doesn't see how important I am to him. It's perfectly fine. I am thankful he even came so I can laugh in his face at the lies he's trying to tell in front of all of you. We've been separated for 5 months. He hasn't even texted me to say good morning. He's right here sitting in front of me though. It's fine. It gives me to tell him to his face that we're done. I glared at him. I don't want to ever see your face again. I don't even want to think about you. I don't want you around my family and I don't want you to act like you're anything other than my ex. If anyone in this family ever invites you to anything, you think I am gonna be it, don't come because we're done. I've had enough of you, your games and all of the drama you've brought into my life. I wish you'd leave right now. As a matter of fact, I am gonna save you the trouble." I got up from the table and walked to the back of the house proudly. I could feel the awkwardness of the moment as I left the kitchen. I went back and sat in Leia's room, and came to terms with what I just did. Tears started to stream down my eyes. I finally ended my relationship with my first love. It was a relationship that truly ended months ago, but now it was official. It was official by title and in my heart. Now, it was time for me to move on.